And the 3 secrets to getting a business loan are... Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. Let me jump right into this. I'm going to get into 3, perhaps even give you 2 extra, total as 5, with those 2 included as bonuses for secrets that not a lot of people are sharing with you. What you must know before you go and start an application, before that, after that, when you get an approval, if you take an offer, what do you do thereafter? I'll be guiding you step by step. And quote unquote secrets, because some of this perhaps you've heard, but maybe not to the extent that I'm going to give it to you. So for number 1, and I wrote them down here just so I can use this as guidance. I didn't write anything specifically because I have that all up here. Number 1, that is the right service. What does that mean? So I can't just go and start an application, Michael. I just can't go find an email where I'm getting bombarded with a lot of lenders, organizations, having me go start an application with them or submit to them the 3 months or so of bank statements, send them a copy of your driver's license, voided check, perhaps sign the contracts. Perhaps you've had these issues in the past and you're not alone. Time after time, you keep flipping through one page after the next. You see the most current email coming in from somebody telling you, we can get you the most amount at the lowest interest rates and the best terms. And if you just click this button, we'll be able to send this ACH deposited into your account or whatever they do. But you have to be careful. Are they legitimate? Will they scam you? Are they even the best to work with? That's why you don't just go into Google and type in how to get a business loan, even how to get a business loan Washington State, wherever you're located. Or go to Google and do any other form of search. Go to YouTube in a lot of cases and find it on social media, perhaps an advertisement. You have to question it over and over again. So the right service isn't always cut and clear. You have to understand, well, what kind of program is that? Is that a merchant cash advance? Is it a hybrid cash advance? How does that work? What are the qualifications before that? Is it an unsecured term loan? How long? What are the interest rates? Is this equipment financing? Is this the best lender I can lean in with or not? A lot of companies out there, they won't tell you this. And this is kind of where that secret comes in, is they won't tell you, hey, this is the actual service that you need. They're trying to get the service done for you that benefits them so they can make the most amount of money. And then secondly, now you're in a trap where you are paying even more. The total cost of financing is high. They tried probably to please you. Here's another secret to that. You go to the wrong service. What ends up happening is, well, with the best lenders in the tier you were supposed to get, you weren't supposed to get 15 months. You were supposed to get between 7 to 9 months. So somebody is overpromising and under-delivering. So they're giving you probably more of a term, but they're also increasing the rates. You might be getting an expensive amount by 10, 15 points or so. And then now the total cost of financing, they know that you're going to be paying more towards that interest and that you probably won't be paying it off as fast as possible like a lot of other individuals do. So guess what? They end up making more money from you. And so you have to be careful about it. Is that the right service you turn to? Is it the only one? Do they actually care about me as a human first, business second? That's what I would be asking before I even jump on a service and I go, yeah, they're telling me I can get an SBA loan or hey, there's SBA loans out there. There are 3-year terms, 3 to 5 years. That's fine. That's what I want. But the question is it the right service for you? And do you even qualify for that is what you have to ask yourself. And secondly, who's the company? Who's the lender that I'm working with? Are they a faulty lender? Is this a scam? Are they looking out for their own best interest? Because I'm going to tell you this. A lot of the emails you guys get, that's what it is. And I don't want you to be that individual like I have a lot of people do, is they just say, hey, I'm fed up with it. I just clicked one and I said I was going to go there and I accepted what they were giving me. That's not what you want. That's not what you want to do, even if you're exhausted. There's more to that understanding. And that's why people bring up what they have to me if you have anything. If not, it's fine. I would prefer that you do a little bit of shopping, not a lot. I get it. We want to look around and find what's best. But at the same time, you shouldn't, because you should be careful about who you give your information to. So I can go on a different topic there. So make sure, and I'll probably put this in this next part. So right service, what is the right lender? Now that can fall underneath the same thing, services. So you have a lender who looks at, qualifications for cash flow, but it's less of a credit requirement. Or they're saying you can have between 500 to 600 and you should be doing about 35,000 per month. And here's some other parameters. Well, is that the right lender? Is that the right person for you to turn to? Well, if you're generating 20,000 a month, 35,000, this B to C or tier lender will be looking at you and going, well, that's what we're declining you because you don't have the revenue, you don't have the requirements. You're not a B tier lender, perhaps you're a C tier lender. So you don't hear this a lot, but a lot of individuals, they exhaust themselves trying to find what works, but at the end of the day, it won't. You're looking for something that won't be there. Literally, you're price shopping for the lowest thing. You're just going to overwhelm yourself. But if you come to me, I'm an experienced business loan broker. I work with the best lenders and the best underwriters for sure. And I know what fits into an A tier, B tier, C tier, and so forth. And then that can then move you up different levels. If you started off with one credible lender, then perhaps you go, hey, I paid this off early. There's no prepayment penalties, early payment discounts. And then I can take that and say, hey, I'm going to get more funding. Maybe I can move up more and get more funding. So let's say you were given 6 months and you said, okay, I'll pay this off in a month. Paid it off in a month, you get to receive more funds, or even before the month is over, because you paid off over 50% of the balance before the month has ended. Then you come back to us and you go, hey, yeah, I would like to get an additional 20,000 or so. If that's possible, we will have our own contingencies upon that. And then we'll say, hey, yeah, we can give you this. Perhaps you move from a daily to a weekly with that lender. That same lender doesn't even have to be a different one. And then next thing you know, perhaps another lender comes in and says, hey, we can do a monthly. And so now you move into this lender, perhaps it's underneath the same service, maybe it's a cash advance, perhaps now you're into an unsecured term loan option of 1 to 2, sometimes 1 to 3 years, unsecured without collateral. So a lot of people don't share that with you. That's a secret of how to get a business loan, moving from this level to here. And I've preached this before multiple times, that sometimes you have to start here to get to here, or first there and then to there. Sometimes you'll be here and doing this, and then you'll get here. But in very many circumstances, you don't just jump from here all the way up there. And if you do, it's because you're moving quite along and you're like recovering, or you're in this form where you understand your business and your patterns very well. So you got to move from one place to the next, pay this off in a month. What does it look like after that? Well, you're not in an industry where we can have you yet get an SBA loan. Perhaps you have the revenue, but we would require you in your industry to have 3 to 5 years, 5 years plus, preferable, to then move you into one of these monthly term loan options. So in that meantime, what are you doing? You're building your business credit. Perhaps you are working on fixing and improving your credit, your personal consumer credit. You're getting access to business credit cards. You have about 5 business credit cards. You're using them for multiple purposes, and you're paying off debt at the same time. And then you're using it for other expenses, as well as you're using it to grow and expand. And that's how you move up the ladder. Instead of trying to stick to one option and you go, well, this is kind of expensive for me. Well, no business funding is supposed to be inexpensive. Even I'd say, well, SBA loans are the cream of the top. So I wouldn't say those are expensive generally, but they are if you don't have a use for those funds, no matter how long of a term you have, and you don't have to use them right away. So the right lender has to make sense with the right service. So right service, then the right lender, or you can say that, you can flip-flop that a bit. But once you have that lender in place, we go, hey, we matched you with the right one. Now that's the way to go. A lot of individuals won't show you that. You'll probably go and apply anywhere and everywhere and tell me I'll check in with you in a week from now. Even after I've already shown you and shared with you that this isn't what you want to do, because you're going to continue to decline you. You might get something similar, but it may not be in your best interest. There's a lot of flexibility and benefits of coming through somebody like myself with my personal and business relationships with the lenders and underwriters and so forth. And so you have to be careful about not applying to somebody who won't accept it because you're a C tier applying for an A tier. Not a lot of people share that information with you. So right service, right lender, it can mean a variety of things. Number 3, you're more or less ready to go and apply and have that kind of flexibility, and I want to say adaptability. Because yes, we will help you have the most flexibility, but at the same time, you want to be willing to adapt to unforeseen circumstances, perhaps in your business. And then you go, well, I'm going to need an additional amount, or I'm going to need to move. What can I do? What are the constraints? What are my parameters? So right service, right lender, right application. I would have put application in the beginning, but really you want to look at a few things. And there's more that comes before having the right service. Like I could say you have to have the right frame of mind, punctuality, the right mindset, openness, giving feedback, and I'll probably touch upon that at the end here. But even before the right service, it's just the education. Understanding how do you understand which is the right service by having the right education. And going about it and saying, Michael, what can I do? I have this credit score. I don't have business credit established. I had a hit with COVID. I'm trying to recover. I have this amount of debt. How can I maneuver around this? And then how can I use this for growth and expansion? That's what I'm here for. I can help sort all this out for you. So apply with the right application process, on top of that with the right service, with the right lender. Understand what that application process entails. You shouldn't just walk in and apply and think you will get approved. You have to know without a shadow of a doubt, and 100%, and if I say 110% confidence and certainty, walking into that application without a shadow of a doubt that you know you will get approved without wasting time. We're talking about days, weeks, months, and even years of sifting through old, outdated information, going through all those emails online. Like, believe me, I've been there, and I have it still to this day. If I go through all my emails, my junk box, how I've had to move everything around, you'll see a list of people trying to get me back to go and apply with them. Companies that I haven't even applied with. And this is another business funding secret that you may not know about, but I've spoken about in the past a bit. Again, secrets. So some of these. So when you go and apply for business funding, you may be applying through me first before anywhere else. And you don't have to really apply anywhere else. And I'm being honest because I work again with the best lenders and the best underwriters. So I will give you what's best. And you've probably heard of them out there. And I'll know which one to send your file to, or which one we need to take a look at more all together. So you just have to be careful about just shopping around. And usually when people come to me, it's the last destination point, or it's the first destination point. They know that when they come to me, that you will get treated correctly as a human being first. I care about you. I care about how you think. I care about your emotions. I care about what your thought process is, as like I said, what you think, and a lot more. And so once that puts together, then I can help you with a lot of the things in business and understanding what comes along with that. And that if you applied through me and you're getting emailed from other lenders or other organizations and you're questioning, hey, Michael, I did not apply to them. Are you sending my information everywhere? I am not. I'm protecting your information. It's very safe and secure. It's in the best hands. And sometimes what happens is there's this thing called trigger leads, where you have the credit bureaus that store your data, your information, and then there's people out there like lenders, organizations, brokers, agents. Even I don't associate with that. Just so you know, I'm not a part of this. It's to me not ethical at all. And what they'll do is they'll go over here to the credit bureau and then buy that information. It goes to the highest bidder. And so now they have your information. They may be acting as part of who I'm working with a specific lender or a company, etc. And they may say, hi, do you remember? No. And you're like, and you fall for it. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So you have to be very careful about that transparency. And come to me and ask me, hey, Michael, who are they? No, I'm not associated with them. We don't do that. What happens, though, sometimes is this trigger leads and syndication leads, where there's data out there where people can just contact you. So protecting your information is very top of mind to me, and making sure you do that. Sometimes even with the best lenders, those do become trigger leads. Like, it just happens. This is how the industry works. Just avoid them. You'll be more prepared to mitigate that process when you're working with me. So knowing what you're going to go into and apply, what are the underwriting processes to these lenders, what do they require, what will happen at closing, bank verification, hello sign, decision logic, a few other things, and what happens thereafter you get your funding and you take it and you use it how you should. Does it all end there? Well, this is not so much of a secret, but it's more of a relationship you have with me. Like, I care for you, Bob, and everybody else who's in here watching today. And I'm doing good. How are you doing? And so what matters most to me is, hey, how can I help you? I want to know what you're thinking. Like, how do you feel about this? Because it's most important for me that it's not emotionally based decisions on money-based decisions, but that you understand where you sit with it and then how you move away from that. You don't want to make rushed decisions, and I won't do that for you. I won't pressure you to do anything, but just understand the application process. That if you look at that, your cash flow, what part does credit have into it that people don't share with you? Credit has a role in determining your terms and your rates and a few other components. And if you have negative credit, like negative trade lines reporting and a few other components, then that will completely wipe you off. And then it might actually reduce the amount, especially if you're looking at like non-sufficient funds and negative days. So those are the three. I'll go to the comments in a moment. I can go even deeper, especially into the application as well as the other two. But for number 4, this is one that very little people do. But then again, a lot of them do. If you're kind of familiar with it, you'll lean into it. If you're not, you might just take what you were given, but at the same time ask for it. So you may want to negotiate your terms and rates. It's not always given. Like what you see is what you get. But what I mean by negotiation is, hey, if I have multiple offers, what could I do with this? And even at that point, it's a bit more difficult because we already gave you the flexibility and said, hey, we're going to give you 4 offers from one lender. Or hey, one lender is going to give you only 1. Or we have 2 different lenders who want to give you 2 of each. You decide which one is best for you. We protect your privacy. And we know what is best for you, or you know what's best for yourself and your business. But having some negotiating power and saying, hey, what if I do this? Can I increase the rates to about 2 more months, 3 more months? Or if I increase my revenue, can I get more? And that, in a way, you're coming into it with more negotiation and saying, hey, if I waited for next month when I reapply and I have a higher revenue month, then I can get more. Is that possible? Yeah, there's a chance. So that's not exactly negotiation, but that's saying, hey, I'm willing to understand how this works. Michael showed me how it works. Obviously, I'm going to come back and apply next month, and then I'll get started over again. And this time I may get even more funding. So negotiation power can and can't work. Sometimes you don't have that option to negotiate. In other ways, you can, and then say, hey, if we approved you up to $100,000, how about I start off? You can get up to $100,000. You got a $100,000 offer, but you can get anywhere between that and up to $100,000. Usually between 15 and above. If you go any lower than that, you might have to increase the rates. It might be more difficult to do that at specific tiers. But that's not so much a negotiation thing as it is understanding that I can start lower. And then what that does, it can drop your repayments. At $100K, you're probably paying $5,000 a month, $7,000 a month, $10,000 a month unsecured financing. And then you'd say, okay, well, I'll start off with $50,000. Maybe I'm paying $5,000 now, and I'm more comfortable doing that. I have other debt I have to repay. And so forth. I have other credit cards I'm using funding for that I'm going to help anyways get an additional 10 to 20,000. So in the end, I'm going to be using about 30,000 in credit cards, business credit and or personal credit. Just understand that if you have business credit, use that as opposed to just your personal credit. Use that for personal reasons. Business credit, use it for business credit reasons. So that's one part. And then the last one I want to leave you with, and this is probably like number 1, but I wanted to put it at the end because I wanted to cover the first 2. It's just increasing your funding details, or what I like to use the word fundability. And that meaning, what is your FICO? What is your revenue on a month-to-month basis? What is your sales, your average daily bank balances? What are you doing in gross annual sales? What's your profit looking like month-to-month, year-over-year, net income? Are you profitable? What do those year-to-date financials tell me, as well as the underwriters, the lenders, etc.? Because I can pre-underwrite files and tell you whether you're profitable or not, or what other underlying outlying circumstances there are that's reporting this, and a few other components. So increasing your time in business, understanding your industry and the market where you sit, because that fluctuates right now. For example, like trucking is a very high risk one, and unfortunately a lot of trucking businesses will not get a monthly repayment lump sum, let alone a line of credit, until they're doing like the monthly lump sum. You want to be doing above 5 years, like 5+ years realistically. Now a line of credit could work a bit differently, but you can't get always a line of credit at a minimum of 10K a month or 15 or 20K. You're doing the minimum and you have a low average daily bank balance. You're already fluctuating in credit. How can we allow you to get enough or just enough to get by? So it's better to have more time in business, specifically that industry. But there are many other ones. That's just, I would say, really like right now is the one that's getting hit hard is transportation. And so the qualifications and requirements are doing this. And you're seeing the interest rates just climbing up now. So you have to be understanding of that. And a lot of like SBA financing for those truck drivers out there, you want to have more than 2+ years. You want to have 3+, if not closer to 5+ years. Have a fleet of trucks. You're very stable. You're profitable. Credit is good. The use of funds have to make sense, because a lot of the times you won't get approved even for an express loan for those situations. So increasing those parts of the equation give you better products. So like I like to say, the reactants and part of a chemical reaction. What elements are you putting on their own, or what are you compounding to then create a combustion reaction, a dispersion reaction, or what other form to get you to the next level? And what I want to leave you guys with before I go to the comments, build your business credit. Like if I've worked with so many of you, I've sent you an email back on your best funding option and options. There's a questionnaire form in the bio for those of you asking how can I get in touch with you. And you can fill that out. It'll land in my email. I will then evaluate it, analyze it, and give you a proper response back via email on your best funding option and options. A lot of people right now are doing this, getting SBA loans that they can qualify for, getting the term loans, secured financing, ground up construction, real estate financing, and they're doing it through me with the best lender, provider, the best team of underwriters, period, bar none. We protect your information. You have to be careful about who you go and apply to. And I mean that sincerely because like today I had a person just say, hey, I'm just going to go and say yes to this company. And to me, it wasn't the direction, but it's what happens. And later to come find out that, oh, I should have done things differently. Well, it might have been too late. Maybe it isn't too late. Just have to realize these things. Can we get bank to directly involve with no documents? Are you saying that, let me rephrase this. Are you looking for lending without having to supply documentation? Or are you looking for a form of your bank to still be involved in the transaction process? Well, the bank is involved regardless, whether it's an online bank or a physical banking location. And over here you said, as they already have documents while opening a business checking account for startup. Yeah, did you see my email that I replied back to? I sent you the questionnaire response. Maybe you did respond back to me too. I just have to look through it. But I don't see a response. So, oh yeah, you did. Hold on, right here. Yeah, and I saw your email too. I just haven't had a chance to respond back to it. It was 15 hours ago. I saw it. I just haven't had, like I said again, I'll get back to you. But the no documentation, no bank statements, no year-to-date financials, no tax return type, no pay stub type of lending service, no actual like all the time bank involved if it were a form of funding or business credit cards. You have to look at that credit card stacking program with the credit line hybrid that a lot of people are going through right now. Literally, you can get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. Let's say you get about 5 business credit cards together. Now, it depends on how you want to use those credit cards for each and every one. You get retail, gas, vendor credit. But that's what you want to do. You ultimately want to use your personal 3 credit consumer bureaus. I always get that word said wrong as well as when I type it in. Grammarly, thank you. And correction. So what you want to do is you want to look at a program like that. If you don't want to supply bank statements, if you're a startup funding program, business, then you're looking at more of pay stubs and that personal tax return. And perhaps we'll look at a few bank statements on that end. But if you're looking for a low doc program, that's the one you want to get into. Got it. Yeah, that's the one you want to do and take a hard look at, because with your details, that may be an opportunity that you want to jump up. And I walk people through that process. So if you were to click that link, you'll see more information on how to get started with my team, like the executives and the people that will reach out to you. There'll be people out there like Jimmy and a few others who can help, and I'll be along there in the process. But that's what you want to do, and that'll give you access to these credit lines you can use specifically, and that'll help you a lot. A lot of people do that, and then they also combine that. They can combine that with like a personal / startup loan, and then if you get merchant cash advances or unsecured term loans, if those are available in SBA, a lot of business owners who are building their business credit have that credit line hybrid, especially real estate investors. But I won't go too deep into the credit line hybrid program. I can spend a whole day doing that. I have content already released on that on my channel, but I'll just leave it there. Hopefully that's helpful. So I'll leave this open for about another minute or two, and then I have to get going. Understood. Yeah, and the difference between getting credit cards in the credit line hybrid program is it as fast as possible. You see a lot of this between 1 to 2 months when you actually really get going, and I know you're not going to want to wait that long. So that those other services are there and they're very legitimate. I know there's the whole 401k, home equity lines of credit that don't sound as attractive. Angel investors, I think I put that on there as well, where you can refer to and what my sources are. But I know aren't we always looking for, hey, what's the way somebody can just like, if you were just thinking of this, you're walking down the street and I found money there. That's what we want, right? We were walking and then finally it just landed down from the sky. That's what a lot of us want. And so we end up just going in and trying to figure it out ourselves. And that's not a good thing to do. Like, I'm providing you guys with everything. I know the underwriting process to all of these services. I work with the lenders every day. I actually have a lender right now reached out to me about an SBA client. And I can't tell you the full details of it, but I'll break it down. So I have an individual. We'll just call him Joe for this example. He is in the process of getting an SBA loan, not getting approved for certain real estate financing or with real estate collateral because of apartment complexes can't be used. So he needs a use for the funds as soon as possible, but we're working with him and we're trying to get him an infusion here with 100,000 so he can get moving forward. Got it. Okay. So I was just reading through the bottom half because this is a new email that came in. So I'm just working with one here, and there are other multiple clients for other emails that I have and what's happened in their underwriting. But this is a situation where somebody can fill in money for their gap, but how they're using those funds because of their industry, they want to make sure, and I know that the lender is looking for this, they want to be very careful because it's not correlated with a real estate investment. If they give them that funding, it's not going to be used to fix and flip the house or a form of an apartment, rental investment property, and how they're using it. Perhaps they're using it for working capital purposes and other reasons. That's what a lender will want to look at for unsecured financing in a lot of cases. And I work these deals out every single day, and I know what they're looking for. So I won't give you much more. There's a lot of specific information in that email. I can't get into it. But I give you guys a generality of how it works. Now, I'll leave it open for about another 1 minute or so. After this, break, have a protein bar. Hoping by 2 to 3 or so, I'll probably start responding back to some emails. Hopefully I can get around to you. But I'm not too sure yet because my time just changes right now, this afternoon. And then people were accepting their offers today. Amazing stuff. Others will be getting offers presented to them here soon. I'm following up with you if you're going to be watching this now or later. I'll get back to you on the underwriting process and what we were seeing. And this is what it's about, guys. It's not about money to me. It's about long-term vision. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming in, and I'll respond back to that email as soon as possible. And talk to you soon. So, my vision for you is more than what you think. You may be thinking that, well, if I start here, is that all you're going to leave me with? No, I mean, you got to work your way up sometimes, and I'll show you what the next level is if you're there. Well, in the meantime, if you're paying this advance or what you're doing with this in the 6 months, you haven't paid it off completely yet, you're 3 months in, have you started building your business credit yet? Well, if you did, you would have already been in a month or two, and you would have said, okay, well, I've already had something reporting. Now I'm building up some limits. Now I'm getting an additional 10 to 15, 10 to 20,000, where I may not have to come back and renew in advance because of what I didn't like or something in there that I didn't need it for. Now I have my business credit cards and I have my business credit established, and I'm building up more into higher limits. And then you can't always put everything on credit cards, so you have to come back and get more funds, and that's fine. That's understandable. You might just need a limited amount. A lot of people do that. So I think that's all I will leave you with. I can go into these subjects even deeper, but you got to see the 3 or 4 to 5, and I'll say these again. And usually these are in the order, but sometimes they can be a little bit different and moved around. Some things can happen before. Right service, right lender, apply with the most flexibility, adaptability, and having the best strategic partnership and roadmap for the right funding. Then number 4, you can say have the right negotiation power if it's possible. If you can't, just understand those limitations. You're probably over leveraged and you cannot negotiate. In a lot of cases, you can't. You're giving what you're given, but you may be able to start with less or move around a bit. And then 5, just increasing the foundation that you're set upon. So increasing your fundability details. That's your FICO, revenue, time in business, and a few other components in there before even going into an application in a lot of cases, and then understanding that. And then if you didn't understand that before, after that, then you start working on it more. So all that, but at the end of the day, what I would put as my number 1 is making sure you work on this. Your mindset, being open, allowing yourself to give feedback when it's asked for. As myself, when I'm working with you, I want to work with somebody who will, 1, be open-minded, but then 2, when I'm asking for feedback, will it be presented to me or not? Like, I'm waiting 2 days, 3, a week passes by. You said you would get back. You're not being punctual about things, and perhaps you went cold. And then it's better to give feedback and be respectful than to have somebody trying to contact you via text message or an email, and then maybe it gets into a phone call perhaps, or that's in the beginning. But I won't always bombard you. I don't ever, honestly. When I say that, I mean I don't bombard you at all. You speak to people that I help, and just be honest and be upfront and say, hey, I'm interested. Yes, I'll get you this. I'm not interested, and this will happen, and this is how we should move forward. But having the right mindset, having the right openness, feedback, I was going to say feedability, and then just understanding that you have to work on yourself. Personally develop your image, not how you look. Well, yeah, look physically if you want to work on that. You don't have to. I'm just saying, be more mentally, spiritually, I guess physically if you want to put that. Just be more, I guess, tuned with improving yourself. If it's not physically, I'm not saying it has to be, but if that helps you, like exercising for me, going on a walk, jog, even lifting like lower weights these days, not a lot. That helps me like relax, and that helps me recover. That helps me spring into action and gets my neuroactivity, dopamine, the right endorphins, the right everything coming in and being more controlling. And that will help you. And then understanding how to have more patience, how to allow yourself to be open and give more feedback. And then a few other things. I can go even down this hole even deeper. But I'll leave you with that. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you all. Talk to you all soon. Have a great evening if it isn't that time already there. Have a great night. And perhaps I'll be here tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe not. But keep looking out for my content. Refer to the bio for that questionnaire and all information, as well as go down in the description if you're watching this later on YouTube, if it is uploaded, to view all content. Appreciate you all. Thank you, and talk to you soon.